Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Races Driving League for Season 17, Round 17 of the season. Welcome to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix here from the fabulous Baku City Circuit, the centre of chaos for the majority of accidents in the RDL season. I'm your host, RC, bringing you all the action for what should be a fantastic 2 hours of racing. And we should be seeing some cars on the track very quickly here. Imri, the first car out on the circuit, getting us underway for the first qualifying session. 17 cars on the grid for tonight's race, which and tonight, if I check my notes here, PJ in the Williams qualifying ban to his name, so only be one other driver who will set a lap and not advance into Q2. So we'll see as to who that driver will be in about 17 minutes time. Although we should be set for an exciting couple of hours of action around the circuit, where even the started era could spell death. I've always thought this circuit as Monaco just a bit more annoying, and I'm sure that many of the drivers would agree with me on that. But in the first car around the racetrack, he's got Curtis, Landlord and Daniel Company on the circuit. I'm seeing the other Mercedes car emerge. I believe that is the Season 11 champion, Takumi Pope, who's so kindly volunteered to do a second POV hot lap for us. Pope, welcome into the stream. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, yeah. Very tough track, like you said, and yeah, I think most drivers agree it's Monaco, but I would say a bit more annoying personally. I'm not a fan of these 90-degree right-handers at all. However, I'm sure this race will provide some exciting racing, especially with that DRS straight. We're going to see a lot of different setups here already. I have already noticed, so it'll be interesting to see what we do.
Looking forward to it, of course, going into what should be an exciting qualifying session here. Of course, in terms of setting a lap back here, where's the toughest part of the circuit if you had to give me one place?
Toughest part, I think you're going to have to say the castle section. I mean, it is so tough to make sure you're pushing the absolute limit and not hitting that front wing. It's so easy. I mean, we've seen it in real life with Charles Leclerc in 2019, absolutely ploughing into the barrier there. But I'm also, through the section that I'm going through now, I believe it's turn 16, as you see me just lock up those rears. This section is really tough because you can cut that curb so much, and you gain like 2-3 tenths, but you know it's risky because that wall is just on the other side.
Well, let's see if you can keep it out of the wall while talking for a lap here. Popes, it's up to you, mate. You take us on a lap.
This is going to be an absolute tough one. We're looking around 139 to Q1, maybe a little bit higher, but 20 corners around this Azerbaijan Grand Prix circuit. We're going to barrel down 210 miles an hour. Make sure you avoid that curb. And you see that curb, that wall on the right-hand side at the exit of turn 1. Absolutely dangerous. Another 90-degree left-hander this time as I lock the rears. Watch out for that. A lot of drivers are struggling with their braking, especially this Mercedes. It does not want to turn nicely. Going through this other left-hander, about to get to the grips of the middle sector of the track. We're about to finish Sector 1 ever so shortly. It's very, very tough here. We're all squirreling through, and there's the Sector 1 split all done. Sector 2, really, really tough. Like I say, remember, only one driver's going to get knocked out in this qualifying session. Down to second gear for the corner, turn 7, I believe it is. When I get a rotation or a cut all over that curb, here it is, the castle section. Throw the car in, I lose the back end dramatically through there and slide through that. I do love the exit of the castle section though. You can just slide the car when you're completely in tune. It feels fantastic. Sweeping corners here. This eats up a lot of the corner times. And this is what I'm going to say. Jump over that curb, foot down to the throttle, tap that barrier, get the car straightened up. That's the best way to do it. Going through the last real corner of the circuit. Use all the curb on the outside, and it is literally just barreling down towards turn 1. I want to clip the curbs on here, utilising all that space, run the car out wide. This is where you're going to see a lot of overtaking. Turn 20, complete. It's not a great lap for myself, I will have to admit, but where will it put me? I'm not too sure. We'll have to see, probably P3.
P3 indeed on the board there. 1 minute 39.9. To be fair, given you had to talk throughout that lap, I'd say that isn't too bad a lap at all. But thank you again for doing that to us, Pope, and perhaps we'll see 1 or 2 more of these POV laps across the seasons, given that we've obviously got 3 qualifying sessions and not just the one to think about.
Thank you very much for having me. It was an absolute pleasure as always.
So that was Touch Me Pope. In the meantime, Landlord up front with a 1 minute 38.707. He set the fastest time of Q1 so far. Emery was the first one over the line. He set 1 minute 39.1. So just in front of Pope there. Ben in P4 at the minute, just behind the former champion. Curtis in 5th, he rounds at your top 5. So continuing on here, further into the session. 6 cars overall set their lap times. We're just waiting now on the, obviously there are other 10 to still be on the circuit. PJ obviously retired from the session after he's got a quali ban for this race. So only one of the drivers will be joining him in the drop zone at the end of this session, and the remaining 15 will go into Q2. With the top 10 then going into the pole position shootout. And speaking of one of the drivers in the top 10, they make that chain now in the Red Bull, going up to second place, 1 minute 38.890, sort of breaching that gap between Lanard and Imrie in the top 3 in the standings at the minute. In terms of the race of the World Championship, because we haven't talked about that much so far on the stream, Gaming James continues to lead the way for RB. He's got Lanard just 3 points behind him. Grimio in 3rd place, 49 back. Obviously a fantastic race last time out in Monza. Of course, if I have over my notes here, Grimio took home the victory, but he dominated the majority of the race. Late safety car threw it into question, but he held on in the closing stage of the race, and on that final safety car restart, lasting for just 2 laps before taking home another victory. So 3rd place in the championship, 49 points back. That's just under 2 race wins and 2 fastest laps behind. Pope in 4th place in the standings. Sorry, looking at qualifying laps. He's got 149 points to his name, 71 off the lead. Webbsy tied with Imrie for 5th place. Both those drivers not scoring last night. Webbsy obviously away last week. Imrie didn't get to the points in the end. If I remember correctly, I could be incorrect on that. I think either didn't score points or he scored points in the lower places. But a frustrating day from Mercedes all around, has to be said, going off of 10 plus B. Caught in 7th place in the championship. JB still in 8th, 5 points back from the other Sauber. Flying Duck in 9th, and Curtis rounds at your top 10, but is tied with PJ Khaled in the standings. In terms of the constructors, Haas continued to show the way, and short of a late collapse from both drivers in the closing few rounds of the season, we got 9 rounds to go, I believe, as well as including today's 8 after this one. And short of a collapse from both drivers, it looks set to say that they are set for the constructors championship. Of course, RB haven't been scoring highly in recent weeks. The races in Belgium and Zandvoort and Hungary left a lot to be desired. Those 3 races put the team a bit further behind. Monza was a fantastic performance from James, who secured P2 in the end of the race. He's coming towards the line now for his first lap of Q1. The current championship leader crosses the line, 1 minute 39.204 to push him up into 4th place, pushes Pope down to 5th. 10 drivers have now set lap times, the slowest of which so far has been Lucky Lambert in the McLaren, 1 minute 43.4 to his name. Here comes Obsessed Gamer towards the line, his first experience of Baku. Here's, of course, been doing fantastically in qualifying in recent weeks. See if he can carry on that form here going into Azerbaijan. Across the line, 1 minute 40.499. It's up into a P6, which is a fantastic start from the Aston Martin driver. Puts himself right amongst the pack there. of the 11 drivers and set times, he's got 5 faster than him and 5 slower than him. So it's not at all a bad start at all. But it's quite close between him and Ben behind. Curtis behind him as well. Those guys separated by about only a few tenths. JB a few tenths further back in 9th. One of the 2 drivers sit in the 1 minute 41s. And less than half a tenth covering him and Daniel Aaron. Grumio on his time lap now, but he's invalidated his first lap, so he's got some work to do here to get himself up the order. He's got under 9 minutes to go, so plenty of time to change things there. Alvar and Courtney Goblin still in the pit lane in a minute. Because we won't get a sense of who's going to make it out, who's not going to make it out Q1 until everyone's set time. So we'll see what the reigning champion has got as he runs through the first sector. Of course, the lap opened by those 3 90-degree left-handers. Almost like a much tighter, more dangerous Indianapolis, if you will. Before heading into another quick right. Slightly more obtuse angle there in turn 4. And that brings us to the end of the first sector. Sector 2 is a bit more technical. The castle section, of course, the big worry on the circuit. And we come to this part, this straight here, going towards the castle section, where, of course, Grumio and Imri collided famously in this race last season. An unfortunate collision between the pair of them. But both drivers obviously having since moved on from that incident. Pope retires from the session. Up in P3, 1 minute 39.096, his second effort. And Shea following suit, 1:38.890 from the Red Bull driver. Imri goes fastest there, 1 minute 38.5. Now Imri, of course, still chasing his first victory of the season. He's come close a few times, but hasn't quite been able to do it. His best finish so far, obviously being second. Coming most recently, I believe it was in Hungary, or of course Pope led home a 1-2 finish for Mercedes in what looked to be the start of the Silver Arrows resurgence, but they still sit in P3 in the Constructors. Whether they can catch Haas, I think, might be out of the question, but RB, definitely a sensible target for the Silver Arrows to try and close down on in the final 9 races. Grumio goes fastest there, immediately dispelling Imri's top time, 1 minute 38.185, and I think 38 to be what we're expecting here, going later on into this qualifying session. Still a fantastic start thing so far. Waiting on 4 more drivers to set valid lap times, and that'll be everyone in Q1. Of course, Courtney Goblin we may not see out of the pits until later on in the session. Alvaro allowing the Salvo of Websy through. Websy on a lap. 35.5 is his first sector. Of course, former race winner here in Baku, won this race back in season 15, a very chaos-ridden race in which he came through and took, well, I believe that for the time was only his second career victory. He's taken another one since. He's got 1 victory to his name this season from Miami. So 3 wins in the races driving lead for Websy. Pushing potentially for a 4th one here. We'll see what sort of time he's got set up. 1 minute 15.4 in his second sector. And get a load of the pace here as he runs through. Yellow flag in the last sector. Looks like one of the safety cars has got a problem of some kind. Maybe Imri backing off. Doesn't look like he's got any damage or anything. Websy towards the line here. Could be looking at 1 minute 39 from Websy. 1 minute 40. 40.4 from Websy. Puts in P8 for the minute. Of course. Same as last week, just the one Sauber on the grid. This time it's Websy. Cott not with us this week. Imri pulling into the pits here. Currently sandwiched between the 2 Haas cars, but more or less safe in Q2. I'd say it's near impossible to not be safe in Q2 at this point. Save for, of course, Courtney Goblin, who is yet to leave the pits. So we'll run down the full order after we're past halfway stage in this Q1 session. So Grumio leads the way, 1 at 38.1 his top time. Imri in second, 4 tenths back. Lando in third. We'll have a look at the overall gap for everyone's the leader. Quite a big spread in this first session with just under 5 minutes to go. Che in 4th, Pope 5th, and James in 6th. All those guys have retired from the session. Ethan running in 7th for Williams, Ben 8th, Curtis 9th, and Websy rounds the odd top 10. Websy's still on the circuit there. It's Obsessed Gamer 11th, Dan 12th, Lucky 13th, JB 14th, Alvar 15th, but on a lap right now, so we'll see what sort of time he got set up for us. Connie Goblin 16th, and PJ Cannibal starts 17th. So of course we know PJ's position by this point, he'll be starting at the back of the pack, and we'll see what sort of moves he can make over the course of this race. Of course, if you can sort of weave through the chaos across the race, then you should be in a solid chance. Landlord retired from the session, calling it an end there. Here comes Ethan on his way through. Alvar in just in front. Top 6 all retired now. Alvar only P15, 142.3. So he's the last car in the in a safe point right now. But should Courtney Goblin leave the pits, then he could potentially be in trouble. Of course, again, Ferrari, one of the teams, have a car missing for tonight's race. So in terms of drivers we are missing, we're missing Flying Duck, we're also missing Red J, and the last car we're missing is Cot. So those three not with us for this week's race. This allows an opportunity for perhaps Curtis or PJ to try and jump Duck in the championship. Both of them sitting 5 points back going into today. JB with a 5 points with a 5 point or higher finishing day could potentially overtake Cot for 7th place in the standings. The last car, as I said, being Red J, of course. Aston Martin take a big chance there. Should Courtney Goblin not do well in qualifying, and of course it looks like the Aston Martins aren't the slowest team here on tonight's session. This gamer definitely improving race by race. He's there matching Daniel Aaron at this point. He's actually faster than Nan on his fastest lap so far. But Aston Martin and Ferrari continue to stay locked in the battle for position, and Ferrari having now taken the lead in that fight by just 1 point after the Red J's successive 8th place finishes in recent races. He's done fantastically recently. So it puts them 1 point in front on 37 compared to Aston Martin's 36. Just in front of them, it's Alpine in P8. Those guys are chasing the Red Bulls on 82. Of course, Che's 2 victories helping with that massively, and Ben's still pushing for those first points of his RDL career. Of course, been in position a few times, but things haven't quite gone his way in the end. Oh, and that's a big shunt there for Ben, and that could have been a lot worse, to be honest. Damage to his front wing. He's set in P8. The quality pace has been excellent from Ben continually since making his RDL debut, but just things haven't been able to come together in the race. Turns elsewhere in the championship, so it's Red Bull in 7th, 82 points. 20 points in front of them are the Williams cars. It's then 44 points up to the McLarens in 5th place. Sauber sit on 210 points. Mathematically can still catch Mercedes, but there's a lot of work to go into that. And Webb's needed a big score to start that push tonight over Mercedes. The Mercs sitting in 3rd place, 266 points on the board. They sit just 24 behind RB, who themselves sit a total of 98 points back to Haas, who have scored a total of 388 points in this campaign. So that should run the Constructors' Championship as we get set up for the end here of Q1. Looks like Connie Goblin has lost both wings on his car. I shouldn't think he'll make it round in time. I think we could be seeing him go out qualifying. So Alvar, despite being on a lap now, looks to be safe in Q2. Courtney slow on the racetrack here. I think the time's about to run out. Yes, it is. So we are about to see qualifying come to an end. Alvar jumps to P9. So there we go. There's a checkered flag. Ethan is obviously through. He's in the pit lane. Obsessed Gamer through as well. Alvar made it in, and Courtney Goblin out of session then. So there we go. Alvar squeezes in. Have a look at your top 3 then. Grumio tops the session by 3.5 tenths to Imbri in 2nd place. Lamb half a second back from his teammate in 3rd. And in terms of the drivers on bottom going out then, we're looking at just the 2 from Q1. Courtney Goblin out, and PJ Caliber's qualifying ban also out. So we go in time for Q2. This one things get a bit more interesting. Of course, the majority of drivers who were in that first session will be in this one. Everyone has set a lap in Q1 into Q2. We've got 15 minutes to determine who makes it through. We'll whittle these guys down to 10 drivers, and those drivers will then battle it out for pole position in Q3. Lucky Lambert, the first car, emerged onto the restaurant. He's got a few cars in front of him. Daniel Aaron, the first car onto the circuit. Curtis joining in just behind. There goes Dan, sprinting away. So 3 cars kick things off. I can see one of the Red Bulls making his way out. That'll be Che coming onto the circuit. I think he's being joined by Pope. There goes the Silver Arrow out behind the Red Bull. Of course, Che's come back with a bang to the RDL, but in terms of point scores, it hasn't been fantastic across the races he's done so far. The only 2 races that he's actually scored points in terms of full-time results, are the 2 races he won. Those races being Zandvoort and Silverstone. Obviously been 2 weeks since that win of the Dutch Grand Prix, where initially he did have penalties in the race. At first, I believe, went to Grumio. One of the 2 AS cars were fighting out behind. But the penalty was since removed in the stewards report later in the week, and Che was awarded the victory. So he's got 52 points to his name. Sorry, excuse me. He's got 51 points to his name. Sorry. And just waiting on the one, and I've just clocked myself now that I was incorrect earlier about Ben's point score. He has scored the 1 point in the championship to date, which he scored, and that was at Zandvoort, so the very same race that Che last took victory at. So those are the points for Red Bull. That obviously stacked up to their 52-point total for this season. First car towards the line, and then Aaron comes through on his first lap. We'll see what the Aston Martins got lined up. Of course, pace from both Aston Martins in Q1, but have they got the pace to match it in Q2? Down towards turn 3. Braking just in between the 150 and 100 meter boards. Section, we'll see what he's got lined up in terms of entry over that curve over there, but keeps it obviously on the circuit into the car, so we'll get this absolutely perfect every time. 26 laps coming your way in the Grand Prix today. I think you've got to nail that car section 26 times in a row. That can be a challenge. Balancing his lap though, so not a fantastic start for Dan. JB coming through, of course. The McLarens weren't as fast as usual in Q1. Obviously made it to Q2, but could be a bit of a risk here. Both drivers around the same sort of pace bracket in terms of qualifying as to whether or not, because typically both cars go back and forth. There have been weeks where both cars made it into Q3, there have been weeks where just the one's made it, and there's been sometimes when neither one of them's made it, they've both gone out in Q2. So it could go in his way here, but speaking of McLaren, Lucky Lambert comes through the first lap of the session, 1:39.5. With a lock up there at turn 1 and just about kept it away from that barrier. Next car through to the line will be Che. Excuse me, no, that'll be... yes, it will be. Sorry, no, it's Pope. Bang across the line, start his first flying lap of Q2. Pope coming towards the line though. Pope 140.2, but Che 138.8. Fantastic lap from the Red Bull driver. And Emery tops it almost immediately. 1 minute 38.420. Websy into P4. He's got James starting his first final lap right behind him. Landon into second place. Put him out of the way here for a number of cars coming through behind him. So 7 drivers and we set times very quickly indeed here. But Pope concerned, 1 minute 40.225. JB through, 1 minute 40.298. As I said, the pace not quite there from McLaren so far. James knows his way through sector 2. 35.1 was his first sector. We'll see who's got lined up for the second. The left-handed tough part circuit to get right here. We want to nail the entry. He's done just that. And coming towards the split, we're looking at a 1 minute 14.8. So not too bad a run at all so far. We'll see who's got lined up for the remainder of the lap. Into fast chicane now. You've got to keep it inch perfect to avoid hitting that barrier on the exit. And that's just full blast towards the line. In terms of battery, going full overtake using almost all of it. He's got left 337 kilometers an hour as he crosses the line. That puts into P4, 139.2 from the championship leader. But down compared to Landlord's time, 1 minute 38.6. So down almost a full second, 6 tenths between them. Comes to Success Gamer, 14.7 is second sector. Down towards the line. Looking at 39 from Success Gamer here. 39.9, I put them to P9 for the minute. Sorry, it's P8. Right now then, obviously in that top 10, but we've still got 5 drivers yet to set lap times. One of which being the championship leader Grumio. No, the reigning champion, not the championship leader Grumio, sorry. Reigning 7-time champion of the series, but not looking at an 8th this season, short of an almighty collapse from Landlord and James, who have been the continual front runners this season. Chances are we'll be looking at a... We're looking at a 4th championship for Landlord, or we're looking at a 1st championship for James. Of course, a fair while since Landlord last took on the championship. That was back in season 12, back on F1 2021. His previous 2 championships both took place on F1 2020. One of which he did win with the Haas team. So it's been a few years since he's brought home the championship for the team from Banbury. Well, I say from Banbury, obviously American team. They're based in Banbury. To my mind, they're from Kannapolis. That's a just quickly fact check that as Grimo comes in towards the line. We'll see what sort of time he's got lined up. Can the champion go on top? He can't. 1 minute 38.487. Half a tenth off of Emery. Yes, I am correct. So they have 2, obviously Haas have 2 bases, one being in Kannapolis, another one being in Banbury. And in that team are obviously a very strong driver pairing, of course, the championship leaders. So Landlords, 2 championships coming, one with Haas back on F1 2020, and then one a season later, back-to-back championships. In terms of who with in that 2nd championship, let's have a second look at my notes here. That 2nd championship, I'm sure who it was with, but I do know that obviously the championship for him in F1 2021 season 12 was with the AlphaTauri team. Season 10 being season 9 being the one season he didn't win the championship in the Drivers' Championship and the Constructors. The Constructors' Championship was courtesy of Grumio and Pope, both of whom were champions of the series now. Pope at the time wasn't a champion. He went on to win the title in season 11. And that's your RDL history lesson for today, and we'll continue on with qualifying. 13 drivers have now set times. You see Daniel Aaron now back on the racetrack. 5.5 minutes to go. It's time things to change. But Pope sitting there, 1:13.8, and currently on that drop zone. But can he improve on this lap? I shouldn't think so. Could the season 11 champion be in trouble at the minute? Come back in. He's definitely going to have time for one more run at the very least. He's going to make that run a good one. Imri, his teammate, again top of the times, has been fantastic in qualifying so far this season, topping the majority of sessions in Q1 and Q2. Of course, has pulled out of the bag himself a few times in Q3. In terms of the driver with the most pole positions this season, we are looking at, by my statistics, most pole positions for Grumio is 7. Imri's got just 3 of them. James has 2. James and JB so far, the only drivers to have been classified at every single race this season. 9 more to go for a perfect run. Look through some more of your statistics. Grumio took his 4th win of the season last time out in Monza. That ties him with James. Pope has got 3 wins to his name. Che has 2. That's your top 4 in terms of race wins. Lando with 11 podiums to James's 9. That's what's definitely kept him in the game for the majority of this season. Grumio with 7 to his name. That's your top 3 there. As I say, James and JB have completed 16 races. Lando's completed 15. Poles, Grumio has the most, as I said. And in terms of fastest laps, Grumio has been there on top of that as well. And lastly, in terms of who's had the most driver the most times, James has got it twice, as has JB. Grumio retired from the session here. Safe in Q3, I have no doubt. One of 4 cars in 1 minute 38. Websy, Ethan and Pope, those guys at risk here. Can Obsessed Gamer push himself into Q3 with a third lap here? Curtis retiring. And can Dan get himself into Q3 as well? Aston Martin looking good so far today. Of course, Obsessed Gamer first made Q2 a few weeks ago. Could be looking at a very quick transition from his first Q2 appearance to his first Q3 appearance. Have to wait and see if he's got where it takes it. On a circuit where the mid-pack is just so bunched up together. Let's see his end of his first sector. He's under a 10th up. I think there's a slight lock-up going into the left-hander. Into that chicane, a bit of a slide over the curb on the exit. Keeps it rolling. Sliding slightly. I'm not sure if that's me losing him time. Into the castle section he comes. Good run. Out the chicane, keeping the car control. Yeah, another little slide there from the rear of the car, but keeping it under wraps. 2.5 minutes to go. Let's eye his telemetry as he runs in towards the last sector. He's not using any of his ERS, so perhaps saving it all for the main straight. He is now 1.8 down. I think that might have something to do with it. Perhaps choosing to go again after that slide. We'll come back to him in a minute or two. JB on a lap right now. Oh, that's a big shove for JB. And we caught that just in time. JB out of qualifying in P12. And caught that inside wall, the tyre underneath the race car. And that's never we want to see, but luckily he's alright. But unfortunately, we won't see him beyond the Q2. P12 at best for him. Turns drivers on a lap. Websy on a lap at the minute. Say right now in Q3 as it stands in P5. James on the circuit on his out lap. He'll have time to get around for one more tour. Ethan on his lap. He's going to be 2 seconds down on his last lap. In the end, in terms of his lap on this time round, he's half a tenth down. He needs about half a tenth to get himself back into that top 10. Pope looking to improve this time around. Still there, right on the drop zone, and there's not a lot in it. He's a quarter of a tenth down. A quarter of a tenth safe in Q3. He's now a second up, so a big change here for Pope. Let them be lucky lad, but the last one did. Says to really throw over the curb there. 2 cents down. Someone's across the line, down across the line to get himself into sort of top 10. But Pope goes towards the line, might knock him right back out again. Pope into P4. 20 seconds to go in the session. And we're looking now, all of the cars who have not crossed the line yet. All of whom are outside of the drop zone. Lucky to have a big slide there, that might not help his case. Daniel Aaron looks as good as out here. Obsessed Gamer just goes time for one more, but has used the majority of his battery, so that'll probably be it for him. P12. JBP 13. Alvar is improving, but needs a bit more. He needs at least a 13.5. Sliding there through the left-hander. Lucky Lambert out, retiring from the session. Alvar up by only a 10th here. Ben's invalidated as he's out. Oh, that's a big shunt into the outside ball there for Ben. Have to be careful that he doesn't catch anyone out there. That's a quite bad place to do there. And Alvar very nearly running into him. I think not at all seeing him come in there. And not a nice place to have to react quickly. Alvar towards the line here. I believe he'd be his time in qualifying over. Pope retiring. James set in Q3. Just getting unfortunately out unless he can make big improvements this time around, which I doubt he will. Obviously, I haven't used the majority of his battery on that last run. But still, fantastic qualifier from Aston Martin. They should take that pace into the Grand Prix and they'll be in fantastically. Mistake error two cars in front. We could see those guys going into the points paying places. James up to 3rd place. Imrie tops the session by just over half a 10th. James in 3rd, over 2 tenths back from the lead, and crucially only a few hundredths in front of Landlord. Just Cameron's pit lane then. That'll be the end of his session. So there's your full order. Imrie tops the session, Grumio 2nd, James 3rd, Landlord 4th, Pope in 5th, Che takes 6th, Websey 7th, Ethan 8th, Curtis 9th, and Lucky Lambert will get into the top 10 just about by 6/1000th of a second over Daniel Aaron. Obsessed Gamer ends up P12 in the end, JB P13, Alvar P14, and Ben, the last car in the order, not setting a lap in the end. So that's your top 10 that will fight for a pole position in Q3 in just a moment. Here we go then. This is where everything is laid on the table. All the cards are put out to be dealt, and we'll see over these next 12 minutes who's got what it takes to take pole position here in Azerbaijan. Who can keep it out of the walls, who will keep things under control, and who will be the one sailing off into turn 1, leading the 20 car field, sorry, the 17 car field tonight, off on the formation lap and towards the first corner when the lights come out. Haas getting right to work there. They've got one of their cars out in the circuit. That would be Grumio at first out. Lionel but joining him shortly after. Imrie topping Q2. He's got pace today, has to be said. But can he convert that pace into pole position? James retired from the session here. Very early on. What's happened to the championship leader at the exit of the exit of turn 1? What's gone wrong? That's a very quick retirement. I'm not sure how he could have done that. So we might get an idea of what happened to James shortly. If not, we'll probably get it in a post interview. Should he join us towards the end? But wow, that was very confusing as to what just happened to him. Any information we'll be happy to have through. In the meantime, we've still got 9 drivers, all of whom are out on the racetrack. This is a rarity. No one waiting in the pits, everyone going for it to kick things off. The first of those cars round will be Grumio. He's got Imri for company right behind him. Both cars now have a bit more space to play with, and we'll see what they've got. So Grumio then, there he is, merging to the last corner and charging down towards the line to begin what will be his first lap of Q3. Four cars in your view there. In terms of teams then, just 2 teams getting both their cars into Q3. It'll be Haas with Grumio and Landlord, and Mercedes with Pope and Imri. Of course, McLaren with just the 1 car in Q3. RB and Sauber with just 1 car in tonight's race. And Alpine, Red Bull and Williams, the other drivers in the session. 34.5 for Grumio in the first sector. It appears from my information that James has got the damage coming out the pit exit. Didn't turn for the corner. And all I can say is lucky we didn't catch it on stream. We'll continue on here, Grumio pushing on. Be careful of the track limit to the exit to the castle section there. I've had laps invalidated in the past there by going too wide in the exit. Into the left hander, keep running over the curb just a bit. Does Imri do the same sort of thing? Yes, he does. Landlord on the move. Excuse me, Grumio on the move. But Landlord is equally on the move behind them. Hot lap mode is being run here for the last chicane and full overtake as he charges out the last corner. We'll see what sort of max speed he gets up to as he comes through to set his first lap. We saw 3:37 earlier. DRS being deployed, only 3:31 at best. Grumio fastest, 1:37.5. Imri 1:37.8. Landlord 1:38.1. And Che 1:38.4. The time's getting slower and slower here. Even towards the line. That's what I like in terms of speed. 340 kilometers an hour. 1:39.5 though for Ethan. Webbsy next through. 1:39.6. Curtis 1:39.9. Lucky 1:39.3, and that only just breaks what could have potentially been something that I've never seen on RDL before. It's put P5, but for the first time, that was very nearly every driver still running their first lap of the session, coming through and setting laps that was slower than the other, and the times coming through depending on who set lap when. In which the first driver set the fastest lap, the first car of the line set the fastest lap, and the last car of the line set the slowest lap. That was what happened. But Pope and Lucky breaking that streak with a 1:38.6 and 1:39.3 respectively. 37s though in the midst here for Imri and Grumio, and we'll see if they've got anything more to add to that. There's been times we've sat there in the past and thought, surely they can't extract any more pace than that from this race car, and we've seen them, especially in this context, they'd be then turning around and saying literally, hold my beer, and then setting 1:36s, high 36s potentially. So we'll keep an eye out for that, should that take place, but I shouldn't see it lap any faster than what we've seen so far. They're running old sets in Q2, but now in Q3 going full fresh soft and gunning for pole position. Imri and Grumio both in the pits here, Landon as well. Shea will join them. Everyone coming in here in these first runs. Whether you the next car through. I'm going to see everyone back in the pit lane here. There'll be time for one more run from each driver. Curtis and Lucky both staying out. Hope looking like he's pitting this time. Just two drivers now on the racetrack. That's Lucky P6 and Curtis P9. James now, a lot of work to do in this race. Currently sitting there, no time, DNF'd from qualifying on the pit exit. And now has work to do in the race, especially given the imperious form those two Haas drivers are in. I'd say there's every chance we'll be looking at a Grumio or Landau win today. Both of them previous winners here. Landau's last victory was back in so this circuit was back in season 14. The defending winner of this race being Nicholas, who of course was formerly in the league at the start of season 16. The last race he won in this league, the last race of the 4-win streak, which kicked off season 16. But of course, the championship went to Grumio in the end, as he tore off in the Williams as they ran towards the title. It's that case for Haas and the constructors and for that driver pairing, but not for Grumio in terms of the drivers' championship. As I say, 49 points off the lead coming into today. Of course, as it stands right now, Landau will be scoring 15 points, being a 12-point swing for him in the championship, putting him 3 points behind to 12 points clear, with 8 rounds to go following this one. Landau back on the racetrack, Imi back on the racetrack. Both cars gunning for faster times. Across the line here, Imi starting what could be his final lap in the session. Down towards turn 3 now. See Imi's got lined up. Here the lock up, keeping it away from the barriers. Fantastic start to that so far. We'll see who's got lined up for sector 2. 34.3. That's almost 2 tenths up on his previous effort, but he needs more than that. You can see evening starting to fall here in Azerbaijan. The sun setting. Yellow flag, sector 1. Looks like the Red Bull of Che slow to let a few cars through. Last sector for Imri here. This could be good. How's he got what it takes to nab back pole position? He's taken 3 poles this season, looking for a 4th. 2 minutes to go in the session, so time for things to still change. But can he really take back pole? He can take back pole. Imri 137.442. Grumio on an outlap. Landlord right by himself at a minute, 7 tenths up on his previous effort. Validating their not fantastic run for them so far. He's got time for one more lap, but he's got to burn the ERS back up again. He's got it fully charged. He can go one more time if he needs to. Grumio now on the push. This is going to be his last attempt to try and take pole position back. Looking for pole number 8 from this season. Grumio with no help around him, no slipstream to think about. Into the final minute, Grumio starts his final lap, Che in behind him. Landau towards the line, he's got one more chance. Going all out towards turn 1 to get things started. So everyone on a lap down except for Ethan, who's in the pit lane. Next car through is Webster, who's half a second up on his previous effort. This could potentially up to as high as P6. Couldn't have 2 more places on this to get things right. Towards the line, up to P6, Websy by 3/10 over Lucky, who's just starting his final lap. Imri invalidated there. So his last lap, that 1:37.4 is his final effort. Grumio is 2/10 up in the first sector. He's got what he needs right now. The slide there, going towards the castle section. He's got to get this right. He's got it right. So we're going to keep it under control and avoid invalidating the lap. Checkered flag has now fallen. Pope into P4. Right now, we're looking at a silver arrow sandwich for the Haas cars. But could Grumio put them back in formation? Haas Mercedes by nabbing pole here. He's up still. Landlord's invalidated, so he's P3 at best for him. Che is 2/10 up. Could potentially knock Pope into P5. If he can get another 10, he could maybe even take Landlord's P3. Grumio towards the line. Can he put 36 on the board? He won't, but he takes pole. Look how close that was. Chain to P3. Landau 4th in the end. But Grumio, pole position number 8 of the season. Denying Imri the death. Another pass the flag, pole position. Lucky Lambert across the line 7th. Curtis will be 9th with that massive loss of front wing. And Websy in P6. Pope taken for P5 at the line. Che will start from 3rd. What a fantastic qualifying, and there is your reigning champion and current pole sitter for today's race. Webster retiring in the pit lane, and that'll close out qualifying. How very close that was. So there's your top 10. Grumio starts on pole. Imri second by 17 thousandths of a second. Che 3rd. Lando 4th by just 9 thousandths. Pope in 5th. Websy 6th. Lucky 7th. Ethan 8th. Curtis 9th. And James in no lap. So that's your top 10. So that is your starting grid. Back in a few minutes' time and start the race. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Azerbaijan for season 17 of rounds of I've lost it. Welcome back to round 17 of season 17 of the Racers Driving League, and we're in for a fantastic Azerbaijan Grand Prix here today. 26 laps around one of the most unbelievable tracks on the F1 calendar. Some have said it's Monaco, but a bit more annoying. Of course, introduced onto the calendar in 2016 under the European Grand Prix moniker, and switching to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix for 2017 and beyond. But always been running the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in the RDL. So there is the graphic there, made by our very own JB. Of course, the style of which replicating the broadcast graphics of the mid-2000s in Formula 1. It's a tough circuit to nail. 26 laps, as I say, we're looking at quite a long one today. Lap times upwards of a minute, just upwards of a minute and a half. I mean, it should all go smoothly. We could be looking at a race of usual length around 40 minutes or so, but this is Azerbaijan, and the races rarely run to a normal length. There's always a safety car or two to try and mash things up in the order. We could see a few drivers looking at some potential points-paying places today. The drivers I've got my eye on the most being the two Aston Martins. They were the ones to watch in qualifying, both in Q2 eliminations in the end, but still fantastic time set, and the pace definitely there without a question for those two guys. So we'll see what they've got lined up for this race as the formation is away from getting underway. Grimmy will lead Imri towards turn 1. I'll have a look through the remaining 17 cars on the grid in a few seconds when we get underway for the formation lap. So here we go then. The green lights are on. The formation light gets underway. We'll have a look at the grid from the back. Starting dead last then, all by himself on row 9 is PJ Calendar, qualifying ban after last week's race at Monza. He'll be starting on the medium tyre, mediums and hards across the field. Courtney Gobbler's one of those drivers who starts on the hard. Didn't set a lap in qualifying in the end. He rolls off P16. Ben P15 looking to add to his first point scored in Zandvoort a few weeks ago. He's on the mediums. Alvar P14 on the hards. Unfortunate run from during Q2, but looking to try and push Alpine closer to Red Bull in the standings. He currently has 5 points to his name from the opening 16 rounds of the season. JB lines up in P13. Not the best of races pace-wise so far for McLaren this weekend. Lucky up in Q3, but JB hasn't quite found it today. We'll have to see what he's got later on, but was cruelly denied of points in this race last season. Denied on the line by BJ on the Aston Martins. And it's Aston Martin here that... Sorry, excuse me, JB was in the Aston Martin last season, and it's the Aston Martin in front of him now. Obsessed Gamer in P12, fantastic pace for him that's shown in qualifying today compared to previous weeks. And Daniel Aaron lands at P11, so close to that Q3 appearance, only a few thousandths in it. Gaming James didn't get a lap set in qualifying in Q3, crashed on the pit exit, and will start from P10 on the grid. And a lot of work to close up on Lando after being only 3 points in front of him in the standings. Curtis lines up P9, the highest starting driver on the hard tyres, and Alpine's highest starter by 5 places. Ethan lines up P8 in the standings. So P8 in the starting order. He currently sits in P14 in the standings, 37 points to his name, 14 back from Che. The only points have been his race wins this season. Lucky Lambert lines up P7. It's been fantastic season from so far. He's pushing McLaren up to 5th in the championship in the constructors. Webbs, he starts from 6th place, won this race back in season 15. He's taken another winner since in Miami. Pope lines up P5 for the POV lap for us earlier, which is quite good to watch. P5 in the end for him. Was cruelly denied P4 at the end. Landlord right now 3 points back in the standings. Lines up P4. Che looking to add to his 2 race victories this season from Silverstone and Zandvoort. Imri still looking for that first victory of the season. Lines up P2. And the driver he collided with in last season's Grand Prix here, Grumio, the reigning champion, on pole position. Both drivers who since put it behind them, obviously a long time ago at this point. We're looking at sort of late January, early February, so it's been a long time since, and these two have since raced each other fantastically. So we shouldn't have any risk of that today at all. As PJ takes the last spot here on the starting grid, the 17th driver. Missing 3 drivers this week. We're missing Red J, we're missing Cott, and we're also missing Flying Duck. Those are 3 missing, but the remaining 17 full-time drivers are all here and ready to rumble for 26 laps around the Baku City Circuit. Here come the lights for season 17, round 17 of the season of the Races Driving League. Lights are, foot to the floor, and we are underway. Decent getaway from Grimmer, who will cover off Imri towards turn 1. Che around the outside, looking for second place. They go around that first corner. Che into second. Imri falls out of favour. Everyone keeping it nice and clean. Further behind them, Land on 4th. Webb's in place over Pope in P5 now. Lucky behind them, everyone keeping it tidy through turn 2, no issues any further back. Grimmer leads away then, fairly routine start from the reigning series champion. With a lock up from though going into turn 3, but keeps it under control. See Webbsy looking around, trying to find some kind of opening on Land a bit further back from that. Daniel Aaron in the points paying places now, down the inside of Ethan, the Williams, into turn 4, gets it done. Good exit from Dan, he'll pull it into the top 10 now. James will place it to P9 at the start. Not been a good start for Ethan here. Into the castle section for the first time. Grumio leads by 4/10. Of course, a big difference. One of the races this season will have a big change in terms of DRS usage. Slide from Grumio there. That allowed Chase to end the picture for a bit longer. But of course, they'll only need to keep themselves in range until the end of lap 2. That's when DRS is going to play. Our first round of DRS zone will be on the main straight at the end of lap 2. Apex post already been broken here at the left-hander at the end of the second sector. As everyone will have a static flyby as one goes through. Nice and easy. Into the final chicane here. Grumio pulling away. They're trying to pull away. Che closing back in on him. He'll keep an eye on the battery as they go down the main straight. Towards the line they come once again here to complete the end of the first lap of this race. 25 more to go here in Azerbaijan. Plenty of racing still to be done. But it's Grumio who leads the first lap. Che closing, but not enough to go for a position. He'll stay in P2 for the moment. I do have to correct myself here. The first use DRS will be down here, going towards turn 3. I forgot what the detection point was. I thought there was 2 of the circuit. But Che might have his first chance to try and nab the lead here. Wasn't close enough. Grumio has a bit less ERS. Che charging his back up, looking to try and close in. Imri staying hooked to the back of these 2 cars. But a slight run over the curb there might allow him to make a brief getaway. A fleeting getaway though, because Imri's still right there behind him. Keep his eyes in the mirrors too, because Landlord is beyond the prow in a lap or 2, I'd imagine. But everyone's single file for now. James is P8 now. Curtis P9. Dan has to hold on to that last point in the top 10. JB up a place from the start. He's up to P12. He's got Ben for company right behind him. That's this game with P14. Aston Martin right now with that 1 point will tie Ferrari for P9 in the championship. Ethan a bit too deep to go into the end of the castle section. He might fall under fire from either JB or Ben as they go side by side. JB winning out on this occasion. Careful on the brakes going into this left-hander. Too much could end your day, too little could see you cut in the corner. There's a big challenge here. How much can Che close? Grumio in hot lap mode in the DRS. Che not using anything yet. He's 6/10 back down the main straight, but DRS now in play for him. He's had 2 DRS zones, practically one enough deal to play around with. Grumio sets the fastest lap here, but Landor going for 3rd place off Imri. Hope passing Websy again back into turn 1. And Gaming James in the pit lane early on here. I think he might got amount of damage of some kind. This is an unscheduled stop from RB. What has the championship leader got going wrong on that car? It's a wing change. Must have lost an end plate. He got the car. Has to get going again in a moment. Hard tyres on that machine. Looking to perhaps try and go to the end of the race. But a tough early break from the championship leader. Landor in 3rd place. Again, that 12-point swing is looking quite tasty from in the minute. We'll keep an eye on that as the day continues. Che and Grumio pulling away though. Landor now 2nd back, keeping Imri at bay. Into the castle section once again. Grumio pulling away here. Now 8/10 to good over Chase. Starting to stretch that advantage. Imri the closest challenger to Landlord in 4th place. Pope in 5th. Websy still behind him by 3/10 and 6th. Lucky Lambert 7th. Curtis 8th. Fenny Aaron now to 9th. And Ethan now holds the last point. Despite the points after James' pit stop. James emerging in dead last. P17. 12 seconds back from Courtney Goblin. But we've seen him charge through the field before. Look at Zandvoort a few weeks ago. Now the question is, can Che keep close enough to Grumio in order to maintain DRS? Both cars use a fair bit of battery in this race so far, but Che's closing the gap here. Back down the main straight. Che very close, not gunning for the overtake button just yet. Imri making the move on Landor back into P3 here. Let's do a good old-fashioned ding-dong battle here. Full position, chasing the fastest lap of the race. And I wonder if we'll see anyone, it's quite early in the race obviously, but I wonder if we'll see anyone trying to take inspiration from the race-winning move made by Oscar Piastri just a few weeks ago in Azerbaijan, the real-life Grand Prix. Of course, making the move on Charles Leclerc, a very adventurous move into the first corner as to whether or not he can actually, because he took the lead in that one and went on to win the race. Was under fierce pressure from Perez as well as the 2 Ferraris, Leclerc and Sainz. Of course, Perez and Sainz crashing in the late stage of that Grand Prix, allowing Leclerc through to P2 and promoting Russell to P3 at the flag. And now P8 making a move on Curtis in position. Aston Martins have got pace today. P8 and P13, not at all bad challenge for them. Aston Martin now with the edge over Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship back into P9 outright. Shea half second back from Grimmie here, still keeping pace with the reigning champion. Imrie falling back in the second half behind. Lando 7/10 back from him. Pope closing in too, looking to really get involved with that fight. Yellow flag behind them. Looks like car's gone off. As Alvaro's gone off, going into the castle section. He's got it under control again. Has he got damage on that car? It looks like he's lost part of it on the right side. He's lost his right end plate. That's going to make traversing the rest of the circuit quite difficult at a pace. I mean, it's currently Goblin like he had place back here. Meanwhile, up front, the race for the lead here is the closest it's been since the drop of the lights. And now Che is closing the gap. Hot lap mode on. Down the main straight, charging towards turn 1 will claim the lead. Started from P3 on the grid within 4 laps, he's up to the lead. Che leads us. 2 seconds from Grimmie to Imrie further back. Lando keeping it under pressure, but not close to go for a move just yet. So we have to keep an eye on those guys. Ethan passing 2 cars, they passed both Curtis and Dan down the main straight into turn 1. Didn't quite catch the move, but we saw it on the leaderboard, and no doubt a fantastic move. Slide from down there. And this P10 will obviously bring it back to a tie for Aston Martin at the minute. But he's going for a move on Curtis on the corner exit. DRS deployed, and he pulls in front by half a car length. But Curtis still right there. Someone's got to give here. There's contact going in. Yellow flag for that as Connie Goblin's gone for the circuit. Dan wins out. Connie Goblin's run too deep into the first corner. Alvar changing on a wing change here. Medium tyres on that race car. He's now away. But Che now up into P1, 4 tenths in front of Grimmie, 2.2 back to Imrie. Further behind everyone, keeping it single file for now. But Dan looking to try to get P8 back from Ethan. The castle can be nice to speed. Yellow flag again. Connie Goblin's gone too deep again. Reversing it and getting himself back on the circuit after get that sort of Alvar arrives on the scene, which he does. P8 backwards has fallen back a fair bit from Lucky Lambert, the last car keeping up that lead train. Down the main straight here once again. Coming back in the lead after a good move on Che into turn 1 with a slide there from the Red Bull. Going down into that first corner, but of course Che can get DRS back and go again. But obviously off of turn 2, it's a tougher exit compared to that the last corner. That turn 20 on the circuit. Websy followed in the slipstream with Pope there, saw it from distance. Further back, Lucky Lambert 2.5 seconds behind this Alba. Four-car little train here as it stands right now. Imrie still leading Lando, Pope and Websy. Those guys are all stuck together. We might see Lando hit the wall there. But it looks like he's all okay. We'll carry on. But Che and Grimmie are pulling away right now. Still a 9-point swing for Lando as it stands. James down the order down in P14. Alvar and Connie Goblin both pitting. Connie with damage. Alvar also with damage. And that'll be Alvar's winning his second stop of the race. Two stops for Alvar, 1 stop for Connie Goblin. Both guys are P16 and P17 right now. So this gainer, he also made a stop. He's in P15 right now. James in P14. The driver there, the biggest gainer has been, there's a tie right now. It's between PJ Coward and Ben. PJ up 4 places from his dead last starting spot. Ben up 4 spots from P15. But the biggest dropper has been Gaming James, has dropped 4 places from P10. It's not been a good weekend for him so far. He's got work to do in this race. But need a safety car soon to get himself up the order as Lando passes Imrie. Going through turn 1. Top 9 all medium tyres. Curtis is the only one inside the top 10 on the hards. And anyone to stay on the only one of those 3 hard tyre starters to stay on those hard tyres. On that same first set. Hasn't made his top yet. still half second separating Grumio and Che. Those guys going toe to toe for position. You can see Pope looking around, trying to find some kind of opening on Landlord, the live championship leader as they run. But of course, none of the drivers will be able to build a substantial lead in the standings over the last couple of races. It's been consistently one driver does well one week, one does well the other week. But Landlord with a good exit here, looks to take Imri this time, going, oh, contact, both cars on the circuit, and that was very close to ending 2 races in one shot. That was very, very close. In terms of damage, Imri's lost his end plate. And it's fair to say Imri's come off worse there. Landlord very opportunistic, but of course, one of them is right to go for that move. But that was close between the pair of them. And for a split second, I thought that was both races over completely. I think for James, that would have been in the best possible scenario. Down the main straight again. Che closing Grimmer, but not enough for a move right now. But Imri, you see him peeling off into the pit lane here. Yellow flag behind him. 2 cars on the wall. That's Ben and Dan who have problems. And Dan with no front wing on that machine. Aston Martin's afternoon has fallen apart quite quickly here. Yellow flag again at turn 2. Well, is it either Lucky or Ethan, I believe. Or maybe Alvar who's got to that down. We've seen his blue flags coming into effect from there. Imri and Dan both in the pit lane here. Imri rejoins in P12, just in front of James in P13. Both of them have a lot of work to do now. But Lando, obviously, of course, in his right to go for the move, but very opportunistic. And after that, of course, we'll leave it at that. We'll leave the stewards to do their job, should it be reported. Grimio, meanwhile, pulling away. He's almost a second in front of Che now. More ERS to his name, too. And should he get any further in front, the DRS will not be a factor for Che anymore. Yellow flag, Daniel Aaron out of the race. And the safety car's been deployed. Full safety car comes out for the first time on lap 8. Grumio and Che's lead shortened massively here. Pope now in 3rd place, taking advantage of the scrap team in Animal. In the pit lane here, Che joins in the pits. Hard tyres going on that race car. Probably looking hard for the majority of the guys in the field here. Landlord, luckily, from not caught in a double stack. Well executed from Haas here. Slight stoppage. Took him a second to prep again, but Landlord is away. I think he's away. And he's lost a few places there. He's fallen out behind Pope, Websy and Lucky Lambert too. Landlord losing out quite badly here under that safety car. James going back into pit lane, so any chance he had of gaining place is now gone. Dan, the first car out of the race, going to be back in P7 and back to work again, so he's more or less at the back of the train where he was. So Grimio's lead then is closed down. So the situation changes then, and the mandatory pit stop in this race now done for I think everyone in the field. Yes, so everyone's pitted, and the chances are they'll get to the end on those tyres. If we see a late safety car, so that can change the equation as we saw with Monza last week. Everyone jumping into the pit lane for a fresh soft for that final restart, and a few cars onto the mediums too. course, the toughest, I think the biggest part of the race so far being the collision between Imre and Landor. Both of them keeping it. Fortunately, Imre hasn't lost out too much. He's winds up there right behind Landor. He's pitting a lap early. That safety car really helped him out a fair bit. We'll have to see here. I shouldn't think there'd be any form of extra aggression from either cars based on the incident, but we'll carry on, and what I'm not sure the case. Both drivers fantastic in their own right. On to lap 10 then, Grimmy will lead us. He's of course been dealing with Che throughout. It's been fantastic to watch with the pair, and Che has led his fair share of the race so far, but Grimmy has combined things from P1. Hope now promotes to third place after all that. Websy in fourth, Lucky Lamb up to fifth. So it could be on for a good point day for McLaren. JB now in another point as well. It's this game another last hope for Aston Martin to get some points on the board. Of course, Dan was running in the top 10 at one point. Aston Martin were above Ferrari in the standings, but it looks like that as it stands, short of a few drivers retiring in front, that 1 point gap will be we'll keep out of it. We've got Pope in the chat for a mid-race interview. Pope, welcome in. Didn't expect to see you today.
Yeah, I know. I just thought I'd say hello and come on in, join the safety car. Obviously, it's a long safety car as well around this circuit, so I thought I'd pass the time with my favourite commentator.
That would be me, I hope. Obviously, exciting first 8 laps this race. Did you catch anything for the Imre Landor collision? We saw it on stream, but the camera angle was a bit poor, so anything you saw?
I was literally right behind them. I'm not too sure, obviously, I'm kind of focused on my own race and my own driving line, but I did have to slightly alter my line because obviously I thought them two were going to swing back onto the circuit. Luckily they didn't. But yeah, obviously a shame for Imre. We're looking at good points, but he's not too far down the pecking order, I see, so that's quite nice in itself. And yeah, obviously myself in P3.
Obviously, Grumio and Che have been the class of the field so far, pulling away to quite a fair gap before safety car came out. Do you think you have the pace to catch those two?
Probably not, but you never know with this DRS. If I'm in that DRS, it truly negates a lot of that pace difference. So hopefully we can utilise that to our advantage. Just making sure Garrett isn't in this lap.
That'll probably be going again for a restart on lap 12 because we've still got Courtney and Alvar to come back in. Those two are waiting on a minute.
Lovely stuff. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting, especially those two have been absolutely rapid, and quite frankly, I'm okay with that. Like, those two I'm not really worried about. Obviously I had a lovely battle with Websy earlier on in this race for the first couple of laps, so it's always a pleasure to race Websy. So we're looking good. I know I've got the straight line speed on that Sauber as well, which is crucial at this circuit. So it's interesting to see what's going to happen. Obviously restart's going to be treacherous, no doubt, around this circuit, but we're going to give it our all. We're going to try and keep him in that DRS and push on through that.
Sounds good. Last thing, predictions: who's going to win this race? Who's your guess?
I mean, I believe Grumio hasn't been passed, but I believe Che will win it, just because in that position you do have the advantage, obviously, with the RS, and Che's a very, very smart driver. We've known that from the countless seasons he's raced here, so yeah, I think Che will probably get it. Hopefully myself, but I'm happy with anything above P5, truthfully.
I'd say if that comes through in the next 15 laps. So thanks for coming in mid-safety, giving us a bit more entertainment, and perhaps we'll see you later on in the post-race interviews.
Let's hope so.
So that was season 11 champion Thus We Hope. Of course, kindly did a POV lap for us earlier in qualifying. So it's something which we can afford to do now at the driver's discretion, thanks to the fact we're running 3 qualifying sessions and not just a short qualifying. But of course, so mid-race interview there. Obviously, us open to any drivers should they want to come in future. But of course, Pope has still has a commentator on him, so can easily access the commentary box. Perhaps we'll have to look into that for future reference. But in terms of this race to restart, we're looking at getting going again. I think we'll put in the message and race control will be hit the end of the second sector. And from there, it'll be Grimio's turn to dictate the pace of the restart. We'll see what he's got lined up for us and see when he can play. He's of course got a long time from the end of the second sector to the start of the new lap. So he's got a lot of space to play around with in terms of when to restart. We've always seen him restart quite late in the past. Chance I'll probably might see him stack everyone up. And there's the message, take the car in this lap. Grumio will lead them then. And can he catch Che unawares? He'll either really early or really late. I can't see it being in between. Of course, safety car has to move out the way first before he knows it's okay to go. Of course, Che was very nearly out of DRS before the safety car came out, and he's got a second chance here, a lifeline even, to put himself up into the lead of this race once again. When will Grumio make his move? Closing in now on the start-finish line. And here he goes. He's caught Che quite well there, but Che's still with him. ERS crucial in this race. We're back on the way on lap 12. Seeing cars making moves already. There goes Imri to the inside of Landlord into turn 1. That impact earlier didn't affect him at all. Contact didn't affect him. The light tap out of turn 1. Both of them keeping it steady. Lucky Lambert sidestepping further in front of them. Down the inside goes the Mercedes slide there from Imri. He keeps P7, but Landlord is back in front. He might find something under 5 from Ethan P8. But Grumio leads over Che. Good restart there from the Rebel behind for keeping pace with Grumio on this start. Websy P4 sliding a bit there, allowing Pope to get away a little bit. These guys getting back to work immediately here. Curtis on the outside of Ethan going through turn 4. There goes the Alpine around the outside to take away P8. JB the last points pay in place. James now back in the fight. That now only an 8-point swing for Landlord as it stands. 8 points in the championship going his way. And James back to be back in the points. If he can get one more, it'll be a 7-point swing, putting Landlord only 4 clear. Things will get very close this race. This championship looks to be getting closer and closer as the races go by. Grumio and Pope right now on to close big points, should things say they are. There's still a long way to go in this race. We're not even past halfway yet. Emery with a penalty there. Emery down on the left side of the circuit. 2 penalties in one go there for corner cutting, for multiple track warnings and limit warnings. So those guys are in trouble all of a sudden here. Of course, the one kind of penalty that you can't serve in the pits. That's served at the end of the race. Lucky Lambert, massive gain there for Landlord as he gets around the McLaren. Grumio leads them then on to lap 13 of this race. DRS in play for Che once again. But as I said earlier, it's difficult to go for move off turn 2 unless you're right there behind and get a better exit in the car in front. Very different to the main straight. James passing Curtis here. Move James back into P8. And back in the hunt to try and take position. There goes Curtis back to the outside, looking to do the same move he pulled on Ethan. Can't quite do it. This is the championship leader we're talking about. Curtis to the outside, trying to fight back, but can't quite do it. James into P8 here. And Landor now only a 6-point swing, going from being 3 points behind to 3 in front. Back into P5 though. He can make that 2 more points in his favour if we can take Websy. We'll keep it under control here in the car selection. Here we go, the first roll on DRS in a few corners time. This time Pope is kept of both the 2 leaders. Let's pull away from Websy, no threat from behind. Start working on perhaps trying to nab the race lead. But a 3-car breakaway now. Safety car bringing Pope into the equation. Perhaps more of a headache for Grumio and Che, and now having to deal with not only each other but also the Mercedes coming in behind. And coming in hot too. 6 tenths covering them. DRS deployed for 2 of the cars behind. Emery passing Lucky now. Landor passing Websy into P4. James under threat from Curtis towards turn 1. Curtis doesn't make a move. Che not close to make a move either. He'll stay in line behind Grumio here. We're past halfway in this Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Plenty of racing still to come. Che closing on Grumio, but not enough. Pope using some battery. He got the car out in medium as opposed to 2 cars in front of him. Both are conserving. Che wants the full charge. Hot lap mode now going on. Look at the ERS manager. It's absolutely well played from both cars. Che looking to the outside with the inside of the chicane, but can't quite get in there. Yellow flag behind him. It's this game off the circuit. Off in the runoff. Oh! And he's got reversed at a bad place. The safety car comes back out. And saved by the bell there was Grumio, who I dare say Che was starting to get racy. Starting to put him under a bit more pressure. But both Aston Martins now out of the race, unfortunately. And down to 15 cars in this race. Safety car has been deployed. So without doing anything in terms of strategy then, what is the plan from here? From what I saw, it just looked like Gamer backed up just a bit too close to the inside wall, and from there took his tyre, and that was game. So no one coming into the pit lane, I think. Everyone keeps staying out the circuit. Those hard tyres set to go to the end. No one taking any risk. Scrap that. Here goes PJ in. JB will join him. Ben is in as well. Courtney Goblin, I think Stallback stayed out. So 3 cars changing tyres. JB back onto set mediums. Ben onto mediums, front wing change room as well. He's away. PJ away as well. First car out on the medium tyres. So now we've got a nice even split in terms of who's on what tyre in this race. I imagine those mediums will probably go to the end for those bottom 3 cars. Everyone will close up quite quickly here. We should have a restart shortly. We'll have 10 laps to go in this. 11 laps to go in this race when we're back underway. So JB and Ben, the last cars, put back up. PJ is there. We'll get some race control short set and the safety car come in this lap. And we'll get right back to it. But crucially now, we'll see if Grimio tries to switch things up in terms of where he restarts. So now they're behind the safety car, we'll see if we get going. Nothing yet. I think we'll probably still be going for one more lap behind the safety car, which will bring us down to just 10 laps to go in this race. And everyone should be able to make it on the tyres they're on. So we'll have a run on your full order here with going into his last 10 laps. Grimmer leads them then from Che and Pope your top 3. Landon up to 4th place right now. Websy 5th, Imri 6th, Lucky Lambert 7th, James in 8th, Curtis 9th, and Ethan runs at your top 10. Alvar 11th, PJ 12th, JB 13th, Ben 14th, Courtney Goblin 15th, making another change on the medium tyres for 1 lap pressure. And Tess Gamer and Daniel Aaron both out the race, unfortunately. And a good swing for Ferrari, this means they maintain their 1 point gap over the Astons in the standings. So in terms of that live championship, then Lionel is sitting on 12 points right now. James is sitting on 6. Sorry, he's sitting on 4 points. So it's an 8-point swing in the championship. Lionel will be 5 points in front going into the next race in Singapore. But of course, big points for Grimio and Pope that can keep these top 3 finishes at this point. Closing in that bit more. Grimio gaining 13 points on his teammate in the championship. I'm going to bring the gap down between them to 36 to my mind, or 33, sorry. 33 points between them, and it'll be 36 points to James, at least coming into today. Have to work out the points later on in the day. But Grimio could find himself pushing into range to try and win the championship. Pope in P4, in the standings, P3 in the race, but in no man's land right now. 71 points of the lead. The close competitor behind him is Websy and Imri, who are both 103 points back. So those guys are currently fighting for points position. Right now, Websy will have that. So he'll maintain P5 in the championship, which he has on comeback from the one win in Miami. Now, when will Grimio go this time? And will Che know when to see it coming? Of course, can't do anything yet till Centre Car gets back into the pit lane, which it is now doing. Che is there waiting for Grimio, not moving with him. There he goes, and Che not allowed to get away at all. Pope's right there too. 10 laps to settle it here in Azerbaijan. We're back on the way. Imri getting right to work around the outside of Websy into turn 1. That could go hardly. Oh, I might have gone wrong for Imri there. I'm not sure if he's got damage. I have to keep an eye on that. If it's a static camera angle on turn 2. No, he has. Oh, I think there's more contact there. Lucky Lambert falling through the field. Has Imri got damage? Looks like he's okay. I think he's alright. I could be wrong. Sorry, both end plates have gone in that car. And the contact then at turn 1 might have put him behind here. Oh, out goes one of the cars. That was Alvaro's just gone. Sorry, Curtis. I'm making all mistakes in this restart, but Curtis goes around. Both Alpines out the points here. It's chaos here. What has gone on further in front? And Baku's waited 17 laps to get a bit crazy. It's done it now. Imri, both end plates off that car. Looks like he's going to try and carry on though. Hasn't particularly lost any pace. Pop over the curb a bit there. Pulling out of favour. May lose DRS if he's not careful. Che again hunting Grimio down, but Che a bit faster on this restart. You see Che a bit more over the track. Medium DRS usage for Che. Hot lap for Grimio. Slipstream in play as well. Che looking for the lead here if he can try and take it. Pushes on overtake for a moment. Closing all the time. Will he make a move? Landau taking position away from Pope for third. James is P6 now. Making that P5. He's gone 3 wide. Imri looking into turn 1. Can he get him back? Close to contact. James goes across Imri. Nothing made. Lockup from James at turn 2. James is P5 there. What a move that was. From the championship leader, and Che closing back in on Grimio. It's stupid to go for it from there. He won't go for it from there. Keep it in line. These two have been inch perfect since we got underway earlier on for the first 17 laps of this race, but now it's time to get a bit crazier. Websy passing Imri around the outside. Lucky Lambert right behind these guys. Ben and then JB around your points. Ethan onto a set of medium tyres to get to the end on. Grimio then 6/10 in front of Che, 7 then to Landlord, 4 to Pope, 3 seconds to James in P5. Just on a 5 point swing for Landlord. Who's got that fastest lap? That fastest lap belongs to Che, so we got the bonus point. No play for the championship layer. And Che, if he can't get around Grimio in the next 8 laps, we're seeing his first point scored of the season that won't come from a race victory, but in fact from a 2nd place finish. Down the main straight again, DRS in play. But Grimio quite a way in front this time. Still 6/10 to good, 8 laps to go. James and Websy side by side. Websy back into P5. Imri pitting here. His chance of points today, short of another safety car, might be gone. In he comes, wing change being made. Medium tyres going on. Sorry, no wing change, just mediums. Well, this could be a change potentially in Imri's strategy. Was that the intention? I mean, both end plates are off the car. I mean, it looks like he still seems to be able to drive it okay. So we'll see what the plan is from here. But he's obviously quite a way back, but on fresh medium. So is he planning to close the gap up and then go for some points, go for broke at the end? I have to see what the plan is for Imri, whether or not it pays off. Chase still hunting Grumio, but a lot closer this time round. Now P3 has got Pope coming behind him. It's another 4.5 to James in 5th place. Websy, then Lucky, Ben, PJ, JB. That's that train. Still a 5-point swing for Lando. Putting 2 in front of the stands. Yellow flag. That's Alvar out of the race. Oh, that's a big pile up here in the cost section. Both Alpines get hit. And that's the safety car for the 3rd time. And could that be a golden play for Imri, or will it be perhaps not what he would have wanted? And could we see perhaps hards change for mediums, perhaps mediums even change for softs? Strategy thrown up in the air. Now 7 laps to go. Now what do you do? And we'll probably be looking at softs, but Alvar becomes the 3rd retiree in this race at the caster section. I think he might have caught his teammate Curtis out too. Imri now under Delta. Chances are will probably end up towards the back of the field. Chase staying out. Grumio, Landlord, Pope. James stays out. Those 3 are all in. Websy is in. Lucky Lambert is in. Ben takes the chance, as does PJ. JB is in. Connie Golding will stay out. Grumio emerging. Double stack for Landlord there. Medium tyres going on for Grumio. Softs on for Lucky Lambert. Softs on for Ben too. Five drivers opting for the soft tyres in the late stage of this Grand Prix. Emery coming in too. Of course, has that penalty to think about as well. We can't forget that. A wing change here will make sense. Got opportunity to do it now. Emery will be down in P13 for this restart. But can he bring things back in the last few laps? Che for the first time today leads the way, but staying on those hard tyres, was that the right call? James on the mediums. Those mediums have seen better days. He's done 11 laps from those things. This is his 12th lap. Hit on that first safety car, as did Che. Conley Goblin stayed out because he's had a fair few stops today. He's had 2 stops. Sorry, he's had 2 stops. I was thinking Alvar had 3 stops earlier on in this Grand Prix. But now it's really thrown up to who wins this race. Well, there'll be probably about 5 laps to go when we get back on the way. So, 6 laps to go and across the line. We're waiting on just Curtis, Imri and Ethan to close back up, and we should have a restart. So Che then leads with those hard tyres, which again should make the flag, but we're looking at drivers with medium tyres on behind fresh mediums and fresh soft too. The majority of cars have gone for softs, but 4 of them on mediums. Perhaps the 3 more experienced heads, and the 3 of the most experienced heads in the field, all 3 of them champions, on the instinct to go for the medium tyre. In terms of where they think the softs are going to drop off the cliff, that's for the end of the race. This is a question that has to be answered in the next 5 laps or so. But 3 safety cars in Azerbaijan, and when we cross the line, that'll most likely be it for safety cars. I don't think we'll be allowed any more. See, I mean, James has also made quite a gamble here, staying out on those medium tyres, which are probably looking at falling off the cliff. those tyres make the end. Of course, if he's taking the risk here. Safety car in this lap. 5 laps to decide who wins this thing. Che leads the restart for the first time today. Grim have been looking at a good start trying to get around James to start working on Che again. And we'll have 4 laps of DRS to end this thing. The detection point will be right there going into turn 2. Che backing everyone up. We've seen him do this in the past. Looking for his 3rd win of the season. He's already got 2 to his name. He's got the 4th. He's 4th in the series in terms of race wins this season. Only Pope, James, and Grumio have more. Che leaving them for dead. That's the best restart we've seen all day. Good getaway there from Che. He leads them. 5 laps to go in Azerbaijan. It's a 5-lapper to end this thing. Contact was slightly between Grumio and James. They're going to turn 1. Down the inside of the racetrack. Grumio, the reigning champion, looking for 2nd place. Contact. And there went James' end plate. I think there goes end plate. Yes. James has damage already on this restart. And that won't help his case. Yellow flag. Conti Goblin's gone deep into turn 2. He recovers it. Gets moving again. Everyone else nice and calm here. Grumio getting to work on closing that gap. Those medium tyres will be strong if he gets off the temperature quickly. James is already 1.2 back. Landlord there as well. If he can get back around James, the championship gap goes back into his favour. It'll be tied. Should he take this to 1 place? That'll be hard. He'll need James to drop back a few. Will Landlord gun it at a certain point? Websy right behind these guys as well. The first car on the soft tyre slide there from the Sauber. Look at that, 2 seconds gained from Grumio to James already. Those guys are on the move. They're pulling away quite quickly. Che on those hard tyres. That restart is fantastic, but it means nothing if Grumio's caught them this quickly. James fighting for a podium. Landlord fighting for that championship lead. Webster behind these guys trying to sneak a podium if he can. Imrie right now P11. It'll be tough for him to keep those points with the penalties. He needs to sort of gone for broke trying to get as many places on the track as he can. He'll finish at lowest P13 with Codigon being 7 seconds back from the pack. Grumio closing an overtake here. Both cars choosing overtake. But Grumio's got the toe here. The reigning champion balls to the inside. Pope passing Webster for P5. Into turn 1. Grumio reclaims the lead, but goes a bit deep into turn 1. And that could allow Che back in the picture. Lando passing James there. The championship lead changes hands. Pope defending from Websy. Lucky Lamb up the inside, looking at Ben there into turn 2. JB and Imrie side by side in the corner exit. Can Che get Grumio back? He can't do it this time. Pope right on the inside of James, get in front. That will put Landlord in the Champions lead outright. Imrie passing JB for 10th there. Websy passing James too. Then the medium tyre gambler's not worked for the championship leader. It looks to try to drop. This place will start dropping like flies. Ben next to have James in his hit lips. Che penalty, and that might settle this thing. Unless Grumio gets one of his own, that might be the end of the matter. This could be Grumio's 5th win of the season. As he looks to close big points in the championship today, James has fallen back to P6. Be 17 points Grumio closes. He was 49 back from James going into this race. He'll be leaving as it stands 32 back. Big gains, and Ben looks to try and take James too. That gap could continue to close as time goes by. Che's last hope here to keep him win this race is Grumio down to the full points. They're going at it behind them. They're almost 4 wide. Sorry, I thought they were 4 wide going into turn 1, but Ben gets around 3 wide into the first corner. Oh, James almost got the circuit. Lucky losing it. Imrie into P9. The Silver Arrow gets back on the scene. 3 wide behind him into the corner. That's not going to work out. Somehow everyone makes it through alive. JB wins that fight. Kurtz and Lucky now dueling for P11 behind them. That'll be the last point when Imrie's penalty is there. James down to P8 now. Imrie right behind him. Around the outside looking at it. That end plate has impacted James massively here. Those medium tyres have done 15 laps. Che's last hope is try and force Grumio into an error. Look at him going for it into the castle section. Is Grumio backing Che up? It's difficult to tell. I wouldn't think he is. But Pope's gained quite a bit of time now. A full second's been gained the last lap or so. But Pope and Landau closing in. Oh, Pope over the curb there. Landau might get a bit of time from that. James at risk of falling out the points completely here. I think he might just end up doing that. JB's his next target. Curtis is his next target. Curtis is behind him. Then Lucky, Ethan, Cottley by himself in P9 seconds back in P14. If Grumio can keep himself from caught making any errors that will give him penalties within this race is his. So he's got 2 laps to hold on, but Che putting on a consistent pressure. Pope sets the fastest lap, takes the point away from Grumio here. One more point for Mercedes as it stands. JB to the inside of James in turn 1. Another driver getting the edge on the brakes there. They're still side by side going towards 2. Imrie has got these guys just behind him. JB looks having the edge off turn 2, he does. JB into P9, James now the last car in the points. Here comes Curtis to his inside. Really has to squeeze in there. But in the meantime, Lucky Lambo behind him looking for some kind of opening. Curtis to the inside into turn 3. Contact. James off the wall there. Is it the other end plate gone? Other end plate stays intact, but James out the points now down to P11. It could be P12 if Lucky getting 2 here. Of course, think about it. With the gap that's now brought in, if Grimmer gets a penalty up front, then the race then goes to Pope. He seems to make it a habit of winning races from penalties so far this season. All 3 of his wins have come from that. He's got to hope for a Grumio error that will cause a penalty like that. You see Grumio really avoiding the curbs as much as he can, to try and avoid that happening. That's been the most dangerous place for it today. If both cars have 3 seconds, this race then becomes Pope versus Landau for the win. And Landau could use that on a day where he could gain a lot of points on James. He already is. The championship now 9 points back in his favour again. Che side by side with Grumio down the main straight. Che takes the lead. If Grumio makes a mistake and gets a penalty trying to get the lead back, he'll lose this race. Or both cars lose this race to Pope or Landau. Final lap of the race here in Azerbaijan. Around the outside, Landau's turn 1 keeps away from that barrier. Takes Pope for P3. It'll be P2 at this rate. Gaming James now last of those cars that last train. The last car running being Cotney Goblin. The restart did not play out well for him at all. Che is there. I imagine Grumio will try and get him back for the flag. He doesn't have to try and get him back, but he knows he can just sit there and win this race. You can see him really just avoiding those curves, really putting it out of any question as to whether or not he'll get in check limits. He knows he won't lose 3 seconds to take this lap. Smart driving from the champion here, keeping it under control. Car section for the final time. Both cars nailing it. 2 cars behind nailing it. Webbsy on for P5 by himself here. PJ on for a very good P6 with Ben on to score big points too for Red Bull. In the end, it looks as though Che will go down as P4. Over the curb there, keeping it under control. This is probably the last danger point on the circuit for Grumio. If he keep away from the curb here, there's plenty of room to do that. He'll do just that. Well, Che has really piled on the pressure for Grumio today. In the end, he's been the one that's buckled. He's got the lead right now. I imagine Grumio might try and get it back, give us a photo finish on the line here. Down the main straight, Grumio will get the lead back. And that's all she wrote. Yellow flag behind them. That is... James has gone off. He's kept it going, but as they come back towards the flag, Grumio will take the checkered flag and win here in Azerbaijan. Che home in second. I'll most likely be P4 at the flag. Landau makes it a Haas 1-2. Pope finishes third. Che fourth. Webbsy will cross the line in fifth. Fantastic race for Sauber. PJ 6th, Ben 7th, Imrie runs towards the line 8th, will lose some places in penalties, most likely drop out the points here. JB 8th, Lucky 9th, Curtis 10th, Imrie 11th, Ethan 12th, James will cross the line in 14th to wingless. And losing out big time in the race for the season championship. Currently crossed the line P14, last of the running cars, but there is your winner. Grumio takes it. His 5th win of the season. And perhaps inserting himself as a late contender, perhaps to run for this Drivers' Championship. It's a lofty fight. It's a mountain to climb, but we've seen this driver come back from heights like this before. That mountain is climbable. That peak can be scaled. We could still see Grumio win an 8th RDL Championship and a 2nd one consecutively at the end of the season in 8 races time. Singapore next week. We're seeing Grumio perform there before. Season 15 is where he took his first win of the season. This time around this time last year. What a race that was. 3 safety cars in the end. Grumio and Che went toe-to-toe throughout that. Che really deserved that win as much as Grumio did, but Grumio held it all race long. Led the majority of the way in that race. The safety cars, if anything, minor interruptions on what looked to be a fairly routine day, put under real pressure from that Red Bull. An absolutely fantastic race. We'll now get post-race interviews underway. That was a very enjoyable race indeed. And we'll see who we get in first. Make sure to let me know your thoughts down on the race down in the chat below. That was a very enjoyable one to watch. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. That'll be the close of things here in Azerbaijan as far as racing is concerned. Our first man in the chat here, Pope, congratulations on the podium there. In the end,
thank you.
Fantastic race all around, but in the end, I think Grumio and Che just eluded you at the line.
Well, I mean, yeah, truthfully, I thought we had one less lap.
Really?
I miscounted. Yeah, I miscounted. So there's me on lap 25 going on to lap 26. Oh, buzzing. I wouldn't have done the strategy I did to lose out to Landlord at the line, so I'm a bit gutted, to be honest, but at the same time, I started P5, got P3, first fastest lap of the season as well, on a track that I quite frankly despise, so I'm very happy with that.
My opinion on Azerbaijan is quite the same as yours, but in terms of the race as a whole, 3 safety cars in the end. We had 2 more after the one you joined before earlier on, but from there, I mean, I think the pace definitely improved because you were keeping up with those 2 for at least a fair few laps after that restart.
Yeah, like I say, if you're in that DRS zone, it's really good to it kind of negates your pace deficit unless it's quite significant. I think my race pace was always going to be better than my quali pace around here, and I think it really showed. So I'm happy with that, and it's something I can definitely take into Singapore.
Of course, Singapore's been an alright track for you in the past. Are you taking a win at Singapore before? Can I ask? I'm just to make sure I'm missing anything.
I want to say yeah, but obviously I have done in other leagues. But I'm not too sure if I have in this league. But I'm gonna say yeah.
I'll have to fact check that at some stage.
I'll fact check that during the rest of the interviews, actually.
We'll have to look into that if you get a chance. But obviously, I mean, in terms of the rest of the race, I mean, things went quite well for you overall. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, no. Touch wood, but a bit of luck, to be honest, as well. Bit good about the amount of safety cars. I feel like after that first safety car, we had a nice gap behind, and I felt like maybe I could have challenged for the win. It would have been hard, obviously, but it would have been sick if I could have. But yeah, no, I'm happy nonetheless. I'm coming out of that very positive.
Okay, and also in terms of next week in Singapore, do you reckon we'll look at some good points there?
Yeah, hopefully a win. Like I said, I've always been pretty good, but it'll be my first time driving a new layout as well, so that's always exciting. But yeah, I've always had pretty good pace around Singapore. It's just what Singapore's going to throw at you would be that weather or be that more safety cars. We'll have to wait and see.
I'll have to wait and see it. Indeed, of course, weather was a bit more of a concern around a circuit such as that. But so thank you for coming along, Pope. I'll leave you to fact check your Singapore stats if you do get a minute. I'll move on now to Obsessed Gamer, who unfortunately did go down as a DNF. Obsessed, mate. Commiserations, but honestly, I think this is one of your strongest weekends to date in pace-wise. Did you agree with me there?
Yeah, I think this was probably my best race so far. Obviously, crashing out and reversing into a barrier isn't exactly what you want to see, but no, I think I had great pace. I think that when I did make mistakes, I came back really quick, and caught back up within a lap or two. And yeah, overall, I think it was pretty good.
Do you think the points were almost on for Aston Martin today? Because, of course, both you and Dan had an excellent pace. I think it's just bad luck in the end that caught you guys out.
Yeah, I don't think I've had the perfect race yet. I don't think I've been able to show what I can actually do through a full race with like good pace and everything.
Fair enough. I mean, obviously next week Singapore, quite a similar track in that aspect in terms of being a street circuit, but a few more variables in there in terms of weather, that sort of thing. So I mean, I'd say that's probably a good omen for you into next week, given how good this race was. Do you reckon there's still a chance we can hunt down Ferrari, get that extra point back for the end of the season?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Next weekend, I have a good feeling about next weekend. I've raced Singapore quite a few times in online lobbies, and I've always done pretty good in there. So yeah, should be a good race.
We'll have to wait and see. I mean, and the last thing, obviously the P12, was it P12 and quad? Was it P12 P13? I think it was P13. If I'm
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it was awfully close. I mean, do you reckon we'll be looking at a Q3 appearance by the end of the season? Is there any chance of that?
I think there's a chance, given the right circumstances. I think there's definitely a chance.
You got 7 more chances, so I mean, plenty of time to still sort that. But yeah, man, yeah, it's fantastic pace, and you get better and better each week, man. Has to be said.
Thank you.
Obviously, commiserations for the result. We'll move on now to gaming, James. So I think the gamble in the end didn't quite pay off for you, James. Championship lead goes to Landwood after today's race, pending Stewards report, of course. What was the plan there for that last safety car?
I was hoping to, well, stay out, get track position on everyone else, and then hopefully people behind me also stay out. And then the people in front who did pit, they get held up a lot that they wouldn't be able to catch up in time for those last laps. But didn't work out. So then,
And of course, there was the early incident. I believe I caught the initial bit of damage you got in the first few laps. Can you talk me through that?
well, wasn't expecting how much understeer I would have, like, so just continued to understeer into the wall basically. Got the wing damage, like. Then I had to change my like front wing level and everything in the pit to actually try and get someone that don't have understeer. But yeah, just understeered into a wall.
Fair enough. I mean, of course, the fight back to the field was still fantastic. Just a shame the last bit of the race didn't quite work out. But as I said, the championship lead does now go to Landon after you've held it for a fair few weeks at this point. But I reckon you're still in there with a good chance to try and get it back next week. Would you agree?
Suppose, well, not really much anymore. Like, I mean, at this point, Monza just looks a bit like a fluke. It does. So, continue like this, no hope.
Is there a track in particular coming up these last 8 races or so that we're looking at as a potential 5th win of the season? Any particular still planning out? No.
After Singapore, I have to win the next 3. So,
Gotcha.
terrible Singapore as well.
I'll have to see just what goes down there. I mean, if it's up to me, I'd say you still get every chance of winning the championship. You've been consistent for quite a while. You've had a bit of a blip in recent races, but I mean, remember for a long time they've had to catch you, but they've obviously caught you now. So we'll have to see what happens there. But I reckon if it's for me, you've still got every chance of the championship, mate.
Cheers.
Okay, we'll come now to Ben, who I believe got points in the end of that race after a fantastic run throughout. Ben, your second point score in the RDL, mate. Talk me through it because it was quite exciting from your end.
Interesting race. Very chaotic, at least from my on board. Stuck in a couple of DRS trains. Made the most of it when the safety cars came out, and other than that, got past when I needed to and broke away.
Obviously, the DRS trains were massive in today's race. Did you enjoy racing with the guys around you?
It was fantastic until, obviously, the incident with Dan, which I don't really want to talk about at the minute. But at the same time, all these drivers are fantastic to race.
I will say we didn't catch the incident with Daniel on stream, so we'll leave any comment for that for the minute, unless there's anything you do want to say.
There's nothing that I can say to it.
No, right, okay, yes, okay. So
I'll let the stewards decide.
Okay, yeah, okay, well, yeah, I'll leave it there. Obviously, I won't push you any more than I need to. In terms of the next race in Singapore, we're looking perhaps at another points finish.
That is the plan, but knowing my luck, I'll end up crashing into a barrier.
We'll have to wait and see.
Hopefully that's not the case.
Hopefully, I mean, you never know. I mean, the Singapore, it can be as chaotic as Baku, but sometimes not as chaotic. It can sort of go both ways. We'll come now to a man who will know a fair bit about that. JB, I mean, you got into the points at the end of the race there, mate, but it was all over the shop for McLaren today.
Yeah, it was tricky race. Pace wasn't really there. Qualifying, I hit the same wall 3 times, and the third time it knocked the wheel off. But yeah, just had to stay out of trouble. The first half of the race was pretty intense because there wasn't any safety cars, and then the last half of the race was, it's annoying when we have those races where the safety car just keeps coming out, but it happens every now and again. And yeah, just staying out of trouble because there were the last sort of 6 laps where everyone was making mistakes, and you just had to be in the right place at the right time. I'm surprised no one binned it binned it in front of anyone in the castle section, so that was good to see. But yeah, hopefully I can finish in the points again next week.
I have to wait and see that. I will say 2 things regarding the stuff in the car section. One, we did actually catch the crash in Q2, so I'll give you one you have to watch back on that later on. And then in terms of someone getting got, I think Alvar did briefly catch Curtis at the car section when he DNF'd, but I think from there he just goes and Curtis was go through again, so there was no concern there. But obviously in terms of I have to say McLaren obviously turned up towards the end of the race. Both of you guys got points at the end. Do you reckon there's any chance you guys run down Sauber, or is that a bit too far out of the question?
No, I think Websy and Cott are too good of a combination. I think Lucky got a bit unlucky in that race because I think he was like 6th or something. He was higher up than he ended up before the safety cars, so that was a shame. But yeah, we'll have to see. I think we're pretty solid for 5th. I don't think Williams will catch us up. We're very similar to Williams, but we've got a decent lead over them. So I think we'll be happy to finish where we are at the moment.
All still to play for in these final 8 races. So thank you guys all for coming along for post-race interviews. Pope, is that fact-checking done? Have you had what you won at Singapore and Yardley before?
I have in season 11, obviously, if it was going to be anything. And actually, another little fact as well, a fellow person in the interviews were on the podium on that race. It was JB in P3.
Wait,
you are.
You're kidding me? So all the JB podiums happened like before I showed up?
Practically, yes.
I've never seen the one.
He's washed now, so.
No. It's just that people have gotten better, I would say.
Fair enough. I mean, I've only ever seen the one JB podium, and I think that was Austria season 14, I want to say. Maybe 15?
That was a good race.
Same thing there. But
15, I think. It was, I think it was the last game.
It was definitely Austria, I know that. The landlord crashed it in the last corner and you came through just to nab it at the end. So that was very entertaining. In terms of a word of the race, anyone got anything lined up? It's a rack some rains here. Give you guys a bit of a post-race challenge mentally.
What was that, sorry?
Word of the race. You know, man. Now. Come on.
Sorry,
you're in it for a
yeah. I'm going to go... I was going to say something about I've blanked.
Oh, no.
I'm going to say castle section. Hyphenate it because I know someone won't like it because it's 2 words.
Should we go the word castle? JB, would that work for you?
That's alright, yeah.
Castle, yeah.
I was fine with that hyphenated, but
okay, right.
castle's fine.
No, castle section will do. Okay, you're right with the castle section. Okay, so that's your word of the race, guys. Castle section, hyphenated, of course. So if you're still here, make sure to go write the word castle section down in the chat. And if you're watching it post race, make sure to go to the comments, type in castle section, and let us know what you think of Pope blanking there as he's about to say a word. It's always something. It's always something to do.
I like that one.
It's
I like
else.
that one. That was good.
Unless something happens like specifically in the race, it's always something that Pope's done. Anyway, that's the That's the Circus of RDL done for this week. Hope you guys did enjoy it as much as I did. Next week's race, obviously on the 14th of October, the Singapore Grand Prix at the fabulous Marina Bay Street Circuit. Hope you guys all join us then. I've been Zach RC. Until next time, you have a fantastic evening, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.